Some players burst into baseball with headlines attached to their names before they ever step onto a professional mound. Others arrive quietly, without fanfare, carried not by hype, but by heart. Justin Wrobleski stands among the rare few whose journey is defined not by loud proclamations, but by a deeper, steadier fire. The kind that grows year after year, setback after setback, moment after moment, until it becomes undeniable. His story is not one of effortless ascent. His story is one of persistence, resilience, and the steady belief that even when life slows you down, purpose still pushes you forward. And at the center of all of this, woven through every chapter of his life, is family, whose love, sacrifice, and presence shaped not only the pitcher, but the man. Justin's career is a testament to the truth that greatness rarely blooms instantly. It builds. It comes from the small fields of childhood, where a young kid falls in love with the rhythm of throwing a baseball. It comes from early mornings, dusty cleats, and a little boy who couldn't walk past a glove without picking it up. For Justin, that love was nurtured early and naturally. His parents saw the seriousness in his eyes long before anyone else realized the depth of his drive. They didn't force it. They didn't script his future. They simply gave him space to dream and support to chase those dreams without hesitation. His family didn't just encourage him. They participated in his development in ways that matter more than statistics. They showed up. They celebrated the good days. They comforted the bad ones. They treated each step as meaningful, not because of baseball itself, but because of who their son was becoming. That foundation, that emotional stability, would become essential later when Justin's career demanded a level of mental strength that only the deeply supported ever truly possess. As he rose through high school, the world started noticing the talent others had seen for years. Justin became known for his athleticism, for his feel on the mound, for his competitive intensity that flickered beneath a calm exterior. Even then, he wasn't loud about his ambitions. He focused on the work, the grind, the improvement, the repetition. Coaches admired his attitude. Teammates admired his poise. And family watched proudly as the son they raised stepped into bigger arenas with the same grounded spirit he had always carried. College baseball, however, has a way of humbling even the most promising athletes. When Justin began his collegiate career, he entered a realm where every player was elite, every moment was pressure-filled, and nothing was guaranteed. But that is where his story gains depth. He didn't dominate immediately. He didn't have a perfectly smooth path. Instead, he encountered challenges, transfers, transitions, uncertainty. First at Mississippi State, where the competition was relentless and the pressure was heavy. And then at Oklahoma State, where he rediscovered steadiness, growth, and identity. Those years of college baseball weren't just about innings or pitches. They were about learning the mental side of the sport, how to handle adversity, how to stay locked in, how to adapt when circumstances change. And Justin adapted admirably. His body evolved. His mechanics sharpened. His understanding of pitching matured. What many forget about players like him is that the college years often define not just skill, but survival. They require emotional stamina, personal ownership, and the willingness to repeatedly refine yourself in the face of uncomfortable challenges. Justin embodied all of that. But no athlete escapes hardship completely. Injuries entered his journey at times when momentum felt within reach. Tommy John surgery, the phrase that sends a shock through every pitcher's heart, became part of his reality. The months that followed were lonely, grueling, emotionally complex. You do not simply recover physically from such a procedure. You rebuild yourself from the inside out. You confront doubt. You face frustration. You relearn patience. And you cling to the hope that the game you love will still be waiting for you on the other side. This is where family re-enters the story not as background, but as lifeline. They were there through the slow days, the small victories, the setbacks, the fears. They reminded Justin that healing wasn't wasted time, it was an investment. They saw him not as an injured athlete, but as a young man building strength through adversity. And that perspective mattered. It preserved his confidence. It protected his spirit. It allowed him to do the hardest thing any athlete must do during recovery: believe that his best days were still ahead. And when the draft arrived, the Los Angeles Dodgers believed too. They saw not only the pitcher he was, but the pitcher he could become. They saw a young left-hander with athletic movement, advanced command, and the resilience to withstand the long grind of professional development. They saw someone whose journey, though unconventional, had formed a competitor with exceptional emotional maturity. When Justin stepped into the Dodgers system, it wasn't with arrogance or entitlement. It was with gratitude. He understood how many pitchers had been derailed by the very obstacles he had overcome. He understood how rare second chances were. And he understood that this was not simply an opportunity, it was a calling. The minors became the stage where everything began to align. His pitches sharpened. His delivery became smoother. His command grew cleaner. His sequencing became more intentional. And over time, he became one of those arms that organizations quietly value. The type whose progress is steady, substantial, and sustainable. His fastball worked with efficient life. His slider and changeup became weapons, each with purpose and deception. And with every inning, every outing, every season, he demonstrated the same traits that shaped him as a child: professionalism, calmness, competitiveness, humility. One of the most impressive aspects of Justin's career is the way he navigates pressure. For many young pitchers, pressure feels suffocating. But for Justin, pressure feels natural, almost familiar. You learn that when you've already dealt with injuries, transitions, expectations, and identity-shaping challenges. You learn that when you come from a family that supports you without conditions, who remind you that your worth isn't tied to performance. You learn that when you've worked for years to return to a mound that once felt distant. Justin's growth isn't accidental. It's intentional. It's the result of disciplined preparation, mental clarity, and a long-term vision of who he wants to become. He studies hitters. He studies his own habits. He understands the value of adapting, reinventing, experimenting. He approaches pitching as both art and science, a balance of technical refinement and emotional steadiness. And that balance makes him dangerous. As he rose through the Dodgers organization, the baseball world began taking notice. Analysts appreciated his command. Scouts appreciated his polish. Teammates appreciated his reliability. Coaches appreciated his willingness to learn. But perhaps the most remarkable thing is this. Even as more people recognized his potential, Justin remained grounded in the same principles his family instilled long ago. Work hard. Stay grateful. Keep growing. Never assume anything is promised. Respect the game. Respect the journey. Today, as his career moves forward and his name becomes increasingly familiar to fans, evaluators, and young athletes watching his rise, Justin stands at the intersection of possibility and readiness. The major leagues are no longer a distant dream. They are an approaching reality. And when that moment comes, it will be the culmination of a journey built not on hype, but on heart. His story carries lessons for every young pitcher who feels overshadowed, every athlete who faced injury, every competitor who transferred schools, every person who had to start over more than once. Justin proves that growth doesn't need to be fast to be meaningful. It doesn't need to be dramatic to be profound. Sometimes the most inspiring stories are the ones built quietly, in weight rooms, in bullpens, in rehab facilities, in private spaces where belief is tested daily. And through all of it, his family remained his base, celebrating milestones, steadying him through uncertainty, and reminding him that success feels sweetest when shared with those who shaped you. They are not just part of his biography, they are part of his identity. And one day, when he steps onto an MLB mound with the entire baseball world watching, that moment will belong to them too. A shared triumph born from shared sacrifice. Justin Wrobleski's journey is far from finished. But wherever it leads, to big league rotations, playoff stages, or moments that define a career, it will continue to reflect the qualities that brought him this far: quiet determination, heartfelt gratitude, mental strength, and the unwavering support of the family that built him. His story reminds us that greatness doesn't always shout. Sometimes greatness grows slowly, steadily, patiently, and when it finally emerges, it carries a depth that resonates far beyond the field. In the end, Justin's legacy will not be defined solely by his statistics. It will be defined by the resilience he showed, the kindness he kept, the foundation he honored, and the belief he never let go of. He is a reminder that baseball is more than a sport. It is a journey, and he is walking that journey with grace, purpose, and a future full of extraordinary potential. Thank you for joining us in celebrating the journey of Justin Wrobleski, a pitcher whose story is built on resilience, family, and the relentless pursuit of his dreams. If you enjoyed this deep dive tribute and want more long-form features on the athletes who inspire us, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Your support means everything. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.